One by your foot.
Don't you want to talk about it? Let's talk about it. Don't you want to talk about it? Let's talk about it. Don't you want to talk about it? Let's talk about it. Don't you want to talk about it? Let's talk about it. Don't you want to talk about it? Let's talk about it. Don't you want to talk about it? Let's talk about it. Don't you want to talk about it? Let's talk about it. Don't you want to talk about it? Let's talk about it. Don't you want to talk about it? Let's talk about it. Don't you want to talk about it? Let's talk about it. Don't you want to talk about it? Let's talk about it. Don't you want to talk about it? Let's talk about it. Don't you want to talk about it? Let's talk about it. Don't you want to talk about it? Let's talk about it. Don't you want to talk about it? Let's talk about it.
Hey everybody, welcome to JSpirations Live. I am your host, Mrs. JSpire. We are so excited that you guys are taking the opportunity to hang out with us tonight. I am so excited about this event. So tonight we are having our first conversation in our new series, Men Talk 2. And I'm so excited to have these special group of guys here with us tonight. The first thing I want to do is I want to tell you guys a little bit about JSpirations Live. If this is your first time popping on to be with us, do not let it be your last. So JSpirations Live is a show where we come together to provide inspiration, motivation, and most importantly, Jspiration. And so we started this to give something positive onto the internet and to have a safe place where people can be transparent and they can not only speak their heart, but they can open their hearts as well. This series, Men Talk 2, has been in my heart for a really long time. And so I'm thankful to be able to bring it to fruition and to bring it to fruition with these group of guys. So I got my Nelson brothers in the house. What's up, fellas?
What up? What up?
How you doing?
What's up?
Listen, y'all, I'm gonna be honest with our followers. I'm scared, and maybe y'all should be too, right? Because these group of guys, different personalities, but they are friends, they are brothers, and I'm excited to talk with them tonight. We already have some of our Nelson County folks jumping into the comments and saying what's up. Tammy's here, Monica's here, my mom is here. And we have some other people that I can tell that's watching. And so you guys, please jump into the comments so that we can know that you are here. We want to be able to shout you out. So Miss Esther is here as well, Lamont's mama. So everybody, welcome, welcome, and welcome. So I am going to take some time to give the guys the opportunity to introduce themselves. Listen, y'all, don't y'all get on here and start talking a whole lot and telling all y'all business about who y'all are. Just jump on here real quick, say who you guys are, and then of course we're gonna give you the opportunity to share so much more later on during the broadcast. So we'll start. I guess who's on the top? I'll go ahead and start with Theon.
How you doing, Miss J? Thank you for having us on here. I think we'll all have a good time. My name is Theon Loving, originally from Adal. I live in Dinwiddie County now. Married with children. Married with children. How about that?
Married with children.
Married with children. Yes. How about that? But all is well though.
And listen, on my next screen, I have Tim and Scottie.
Tim Jackson from Avon, in Avon. Will always be in Avon probably, but good to be here. Good to be here.
Scottie Barber, originally from Wingina, Virginia. Good to be here. Good to see everybody. Think we're gonna have a good time.
Hey,
We got Randy in the house.
Randy Megason, Happy Rock, Gladstone. I live in Pennsylvania now, Lancaster, Pennsylvania right now. Like Theon, married with kids, and I'm in Amherst right now, so I love coming back all the time. So nice to get up with my boys.
Yes, sir.
It's always a good time when we get together all the time. So you're gonna have fun.
I know we're gonna have some fun. And last but not least,
Lamont Page, grew up in Roseland, now live in Hampton, married with one child.
so you guys, this is like full circle for us. Back in 2019, I had my girls on, Velvet, Tammy, Monica, LaJaya, and we came on and we did a show about friendship, and we had such a good time. We cut up a lot, but we had a lot of fun, and we had a lot of real, real talk and real conversation. So to have you guys on tonight, it's exciting for me, and it's also an honor because I knew you guys when you were young, right? We all grew up together, and so now to have different relationships with you guys, and then Scottie's my cousin, so of course I've been knowing him all my life, but to have different relationships with you guys and to see you grow into not just men, but to find young men and honorable men, and to see your friendship. Honestly, I didn't even know you guys were that close when we were in high school. We were in middle school, and Randy, don't you say nothing about that. But I didn't know you guys were that close. So to be able to watch you guys grow and how you're connected, and to watch your friendship, it really is a breath of fresh air. So the first question I wanted to ask you guys is, how did so we're from a small place, right? Nelson County. Lord, I see Scottie already trying to cut up. I see him giggling back there. But growing up in a small town, right, in Nelson County, where we all knew each other, tell me, how did that prepare you or not prepare you for real life or for life outside of the county?
That's a them question because I'm not outside of the county. So.
That's a good question. Let me start off by saying, I feel like each one of us, we got our values from Nelson, from how we grew up, from how we were raised. I know once we graduated from Nelson, I went off to Virginia State. Completely different world. Petersburg is completely different from little old Nelson County. Not saying they don't have manners down there, but it's not how we grew up. It's something that I definitely had to adapt to. I still have some of the Petersburg ways with me, which isn't a bad thing sometimes. But again, I think we're all grounded with our roots in Nelson.
So what about you, Lamont?
I have to agree with Theon because, you go to a different place and you get a little crazy, get a little wild, but you always got to come back to your roots. And that did help settle me in down here. Because as you know, Joe, 757 is a little bit different.
It's a whole lot different. And Randy, you're outside of Nelson County too, outside of the state. How do you feel about that?
Well, I mean, I live in Pennsylvania, and I never left the Gladstone. The Gladstone is still in me, and I never left it. It's just that they do it a little different up north. Like they go. It's like they got to be somewhere so quick, and I'm like, where you going? Slow down, and I don't get it. I mean, I'd rather be back here because I feel that if you grew up where we grew up, you got to get away to appreciate what you left. You know what I'm saying? And I really like coming back home now. And I mean, I wish I could come back, but I probably won't. Not no time soon. But I tell you what, when I do go up there and I talk about home, I don't let nobody disrespect Virginia or Nelson County. That's for sure. I'm gonna always have Nelson County on my back.
And Scottie, what about you? Because Scottie drives trucks, and so he gets that opportunity to go to so many different places so many times. And so he experiences so many different environments. So, like, how did that prepare you, or did it?
Well,
first off, before I started driving truck, I left and I went to college in Michigan. So that was that like you said, Lamont, the 757 is a different world. Like way out there, the Midwest is totally different from being over here on the East Coast. So when I moved out there, it was a culture shock, put it that way. And like the music, and I'm coming over there listening to go and all that, and they like, what is your? Why are they banging on buckets and all? So I mean, it was different, but you still like you come back and you still that where we grew up at is all still instilled in you. So the manners, and regardless of how somebody else acted towards you, you still kept that Nelson County way in you. So now I drive truck and it's way different. I see so much stuff now, but you just got to still remember where you come from and just act the way that we were raised, put it that way.
Yeah, and that's good, because even with, my crew, we're all in different spaces, but I think we've all kept that, we've kept like what was instilled in us in that small town of family and relationships and taking care of each other and being genuine, and really being true to who you are. So like I said, I didn't even know that you guys were friends, like really close like that growing up. So I know everybody kind of, went their separate ways and kind of did their own thing. So tell me, how long did it take for you guys to come back together to really start building your relationship again?
Long time.
It took a while.
Way too long. Way too long.
Absolutely.
Way too long.
There's a lot of sporadic conversations, and then 2 years ago, fellas, we locked in.
Yeah,
it's been a hoot since, boy.
Because
now, and COVID had a way of reminding you, all the separation that we had. It really had a way of reminding you what was important, who was important, and we lost so many people in that time. So I think it was like like for us, me and the girls, we were able to get together in 2019. So it was before COVID. And so it helped us to really make that real connection again, to say we're important and we're going to do it. And then I think like in COVID, because you guys connected during that time, it was almost like a pulling back together of these are the people who really know me. These are the people who really care about me. I can be myself. I can be genuine. So I wanted to ask you, it's a lot of things I want to ask you guys. So we're going to be jumping all around, but it's a question that's in the comments that I think is actually good to ask now. Lucy said, what is the core of living in Nelson County that made you slow up when you moved away? So that is a good question, like, because we talked about some of the things that were, we said things were instilled in us, but we didn't get like specific, like what things were instilled in you. Because Randy said, I'm looking at the folks like, slow down, why are you going so fast? What were some of those core values that our parents instilled in us in that small county?
Work. You gotta work. Nothing's gonna be given to you. I know a lot of my summers when I was in elementary school, when summertime hit, I was cutting grass pretty much every summer. That was my job. When it got cold outside, my job was to bring wood in the house. So, and then I also during the summer times, my mom used to have me doing these math workbooks, and I used to hate it. And the way the house was set up, she had a desk outside by the window, so I could see everybody outside. And it's just like, can I play? Can I go? That's how I felt. But I had to get these math problems done, and that's probably why I love math now, honestly. But also, we had a garden outside. Miss Joe, one of my pet peeves, I hate being hot. I hate it. And my grandfather had this tractor. We used to have to follow behind this tractor, getting green beans, getting tomatoes, picking potatoes, had corn out there, had cucumbers. I didn't appreciate it back then, but I love all those fruits and vegetables, all those vegetables now. I definitely do. So yeah, the work ethic is something that I definitely took with me.
Anybody else want to speak to that question?
I agree with the work ethic, and you know, coming from a small town, we were raised to respect people, you know, and when you moving from where we come from, where we came from to like bigger cities, like, you know, they moving fast, they bumping into you, they cutting you off, no respect whatsoever. So you had to hold on to that so you wouldn't come out of your own element, you know, and act the way that they act. So yeah, that's one of the things that made me slow up, because like going to school up there where I went to school, I was close to Detroit. So it's a different world up there, you know. And yeah, just being that small town country boy. And oh man, you don't even sound the same. You don't even sound like you from up here. I'm not like you. You know what I'm saying? But coming from Nelson and coming from out of Mary Barber's house, yeah, you gonna respect, and you gonna go to work every day, you know. So.
Yeah, that work ethic and that respect is a big thing. You know, Lamont says we're both in the 757. And when I first came here, I was just like, it was a whole different world. And you kind of go, and for a little bit, you get kind of swept up in what everybody else is doing, right? Because you're trying to be a part of things. You're trying to figure out the world because it looks so different than where we came from. But then there becomes a time where you kind of just stop and say, that's not for me. Like, I have to go back to who I am, because you feel yourself getting stagnant because you know that those were not the things that was instilled in you. Now, speaking of that, like I said, there's 5 of us that we hang real tight, right, from Nelson County, and we all have different roles in our relationships, right? And so we know what our roles are. And so as I watch you guys, as I've been talking to you all, trying to, you know, really get this show together and trying to figure out how I'm going to keep y'all on y'all best behavior, I've been laughing and joking to myself and thinking about what roles do these guys play in their friendship. Now, I'm going to start, because I know everybody's probably going to want to start talking at one time. So I'm going to jump to Randy, and I'm going to ask Randy first. Randy, what is your role in this group of brothers?
You know, you know what, Joe? I'm gonna say something they probably not gonna expect me to say, but when we talk every day, the roles change every day. Okay. One day somebody is like, nah, I gotta be this person. Then it'll change. Like sometimes some days one of us the devil on your shoulder. Then the other day they be like, oh, Randy, me and Lamont, we hardly ever agree with anything. He's my devil's advocate with everything. But when we agree, he like, oh, we agree today. So like it can change day by day. It'll change. So I can't really say that I have a certain role. I mean, I'm probably the smartest out the group. That's
thought that was Theon, guys.
That's what like this group, we wear so many different hats for each other. Like, but when it all comes down to it, I think we all protective over each other. We can say what we want to each other, but nobody else is going to say anything about the group because it's a problem then. So that's.
I'm just going to jump in real quick because Randall trying to make himself seem, you know, different.
Holier than thou right now. Yeah, he is. Yeah, he is.
Let me put this on the table real quick. And
wait a minute. This is where the show takes a turn.
Listen, Tim been saying all week is live TV.
Here we go.
I promise, cousin, not to say nothing, you know, out the way, but I will say this: Randall, great fella, love him to death. But in this group, I don't care what day it is, tomorrow, today, whatever. He is the bully of the group. So it doesn't matter. Like he can sit here and try to act like he's a bully.
Okay, but
bad text messages every day.
Okay, but Scottie, okay, if Randy is the bully though, and you know his role, what's your role in the group?
The crybaby.
I'm the kid that's in counseling because I'm being bullied all the time. Hey, listen.
Wow.
These guys, I love them to death. I take nothing from it. But my copay for my counselor has went up because I go from 1 to 2 times a week dealing with these guys now.
Listen, Monica Cabell in our group, she would probably say the same thing. So Monica must be Scottie.
Yeah. It's been times on this with this group of guys that I will mute our conversation and not talk to none of them for like a day because, and it won't even be because of T or Lamont or Timmy.
It'd be Randy.
Okay.
True story.
Listen.
True story. This is a true story. I can say what I want to Scottie. He's fine. He'll laugh at it. Randall can say the slightest little thing, he's gone.
And that must be Velvin, right? So everybody from Nelson must have the same roles in the group. I can say whatever I want to say to Monica, but if Velvin say it, it goes all the way to the roots. What about you, Theon? Yeah. Theon, what's your role?
Well, first of all, Theon got to be
Randy. It's Theon time.
You know what? I'm not the oldest person in this group, nor am I the youngest. However, I feel like I'm the baby brother in this group. There's so many things I can say towards this.
Theon's more sheltered than us.
It's so, yeah, I feel like I'm the younger brother and everything, you know. Also, I'm good at stirring up some stuff and then leaving. And people be like, wow, I guess T ain't gonna come back to 2 hours from now or something like that. But I do be working, I do be busy a lot. I'm always doing something, whether I'm at work or just doing something. So I do stir up a lot of stuff. And I sit back and laugh I laugh at them chiming in or whatever. But yeah, I just think I'm the baby brother of the group.
Joe Shalon.
Yes, Randy.
You know how you have those cousins that come to your house that don't get to watch the rated R movies? But when they come to your house, they get to watch them. That's how Theon is. He's like, come on in.
I didn't watch that at 8 Hour. I wouldn't have had to watch it.
Come on in. You can watch it at my house.
I used to love going to everybody else's house because that's what they were watching. Mom and Dad was allowing me to watch that. So yes, I agree.
Either.
So what's your role, Lamont?
Listen. Depends on what my name is. It depends on what my name is at the moment. Like Randall said, we all switch roles. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes we talk each other off the ledge. Sometimes we push over. You know, I don't know.
Well, what about you, Tim? Because Tim surprised me sometime. He surprised me early today. What's your role, Tim? And Scottie called you. So one of them called you Timmy. So what's your role?
Yeah. You know, why did we decide to put me and him beside each other for this? I will never understand. I don't know. I think, like he said, we're interchangeable. There are times where, like, I'll just throw stuff to the group and then they go on with the conversation. So I'm learning from them at all times. But we are very interchangeable. And it seems like since we got back together, the connection has gotten a lot deeper because now we go from talking about, you know, what shows, what music. Well, we still talk about that, but we're adding in like our day-to-day lives. So, man, I think we like Swiss Army knives. We all have, you know, unique roles and we can play them for each other. So there are times where I might argue with Scottie all morning, but, you know, that evening he might send me something encouraging like, hey, man, you hadn't been on here. Are you all right? So, yeah, we're kind of interchangeable that way.
And I love that. And it leads me into another question that could possibly sound the same, but it's actually very different. I was going to ask, like, you know, you guys, you know, you went away, you know, kind of separated for a little bit. We go off to different places and we make new friends, right? So we meet new people. Tell me about the difference in the new people, like the relationships with the new people you have met, you know, opposed to your relationship with each other, even though you kind of separated a little bit and you came back. Because I know with people that I've met once I became an adult, the relationships are great, but it's still a little different from the relationships that I have, like with my girls that like know me, like knew me when or knew me before. Because one of you guys speak to that.
Well, I will. Okay. I tell them it's more like the people that I met since I've been grown. I could see or talk to them whenever. these guys I want to talk to every day. You know what I'm saying? Like people like I've met since being in Pennsylvania or as an adult, it's like fly by night. Like we're more like associates. Like, but these guys you actually care about. So you want to like I told him earlier, like you know who's really your friend when you and they're outside your family, and you say when you leave and you talk to them, you say I love you. That's how you know like that's your people. Like usually we reserve that only, and as men we hardly ever say that to each other anyway. But if you say that to another man that's outside your family, it's different. You like yo, and then you take on like what they're going through. Like if they're going through something, you like okay, I got to carry it for them too. So that's what I think. Like it makes it different.
Yeah,
y'all holding on to that I love you thing because we're gonna talk about that after this. Go ahead, Tim.
Yeah, for me, it's also knowing that at any point in my life, I can pick up the phone and call one of these guys, and I know they're going to answer, and they're going to be on the way if I need them. So like to have that, that emergency button, I would say, be like, yo, I'm going through something. Let me call one of these guys. I know somebody's going to answer at any time of the day. And you don't get that all the time with people you meet later in life. And we know everything about each other from the time we met. Like, we still talk about the same kind of conversation sometimes. So like nobody knows me as well as these guys. And so who better to ask when I need help or I need to clear my mind or something like that.
I know one day last year, prior to Scottie coming into the group,
he messed everything up.
That's Randy's fault.
My bad.
That's Randy. But no, Scottie might have been. I'm not sure.
I can leave. Take care.
But it was one day last year. I was feeling just extremely down. I had my father on my mind again. He passed in 2019, and he was just on my mind that entire day, that entire morning, and every one of these guys just had just an encouraging word just to say, just to get me through it. And that's exactly what I needed to hear. So just to piggyback off of what Tim said, I know if I pick up the phone and call any one of these guys, they're going to answer the phone. If not, they're going to call me back. So that's something that I definitely look forward to. I definitely do.
Joe, I could expound a little bit. I'm blessed to have a brotherhood down here as well. However, there is a difference because these fellas Nelson County, and like y'all all said, they know me from the root. They know why I'm quirky. They know why I might put camo pants on and go out in the backyard. I'm country. Not a lot of people understand that, and that's the huge difference. They question it sometimes. I got my Crocs on, Tim. But it's Nelson County, true and true.
And like Randy mentioned, so you guys, if you're just tuning in, you're tuned into the JSpirations live show, and I'm your host, Mrs. JSpire, and today we are starting our new series, Men Talk 2, and this is the first conversation, so welcome to the show. Randy said, telling another man, I love you, outside of your family. So, sometimes for women, it's easier, right, for us to do it. So, Randy, for you to say that, like, that was a transparent moment. I feel like it was a transparent moment because men don't do that. And so I know Randy spoke to it, but everybody else kind of chimed in. Like, outside of this Nelson County crew, did you guys use that word with any other men, any other guys? Like, I mean, outside of your children, of course. But like outside of that group, like another group.
I do, yeah. It's a select few, a very select few, super select few. That means that they know me, they know where I'm from, I know where they're from, they know my children, they know my family. So yes, people like that I use the love word with. But I don't just go throwing around all willy-nilly now.
Why do y'all think it's so hard for men to say that? Like to another.
I would say with that question that you're saying right there, why is it hard for us to say it? Because, well, at least in my household, with my dad, it wasn't said. was shown. You know what I'm saying? It was okay. I ain't got to tell you that I love you because you got shoes on your feet, you got clothes on your back. So that was I love you. Like it took for me we've talked about this, fellas. What I graduated college. That was the first time my dad ever told me he was proud of me. You know what I'm saying? But you knew he was, you know what I'm saying? But you got that goes back to the generation of when he grew up or how he was raised. So it's called, you know, they didn't say that. So with us, I guess as men now and being friends and having kids and all that, we trying to break that cycle. At least I am telling my kids, you know, I love you, you know, stuff like that, because you never know. You know what I mean? So
my father would always say, he would never say I love you. He would say I'm proud of you. And I found myself always telling my son, I'm proud of you, I'm proud of you. Then I had to catch myself. Hey, Tyreek, I love you. You know, just to let them know so they can hear that. Just to hear from another male. And I think a lot of people don't use that word because, you know, it might make you. Some people got an image they try to uphold. They don't want to seem like they soft or anything of that nature. They don't want people to look down on them. So I think that's why it's not used a lot.
With these guys, and I got one other guy, and you know who it is, Sean. My that's best friend forever. I tell them, you know, I tell these, and it comes easy to tell these guys, you know, I love you. You know what I'm saying? So to me, with me to use that word, other than my kids and my mom and stuff like that, it's a big word to use. So if I use it to you, it's meant. Like it's not like I'm just not throwing it out there to you just to say, hey man, I love you. No, if I tell you I love you, bro, I got you. You know what I'm saying? I love you. So
and like
I guess I love these guys. I don't know.
I mean, with them, I tell them like I just hold it for the people I really love, like family. I mean, nephews. Like that's it. Outside of that, these are the only other ones outside my family that gets it. I don't care if I've known you 20 years. It's these four right here. They gonna get a I love you regardless. Like, because I don't even look at these four as friends no more. They're family now. You know, so it's easy to say I love you if it's your family.
I love that.
For me, the trigger was when I was younger and my dad passed. So the moment he passed, I looked at my mom. I told y'all this story. I looked at my mom and I could see that like any disagreement they ever had was like written on her face. Like you would love to have those moments back in that time. So from that point on, I made it a point to say I love you and mean it, and let my friends know I love you and I'm here for you, whatever you need, because you hear it all the time. I mean, people go to funerals and they're like, "Oh, we love you." Well, if you love me, then show me, invest some time in me, give me a call, do something like that, and that's why it's so easy to tell these guys I love you, because they've done that. Like when my aunt passed, man, I was rolling along. That's when we started the podcast, and I was rolling along, and then something like that hits you. And for me, I tried to outrun it. I was like, anything you get me to do, I want to work through it. And that day, boom, it hit me. And it was like hitting a brick wall. It's like all the emotions came and I shut down until these guys helped me through it. Like every day encouraging me, talking, we clowning, having a good time. And it also created me wanting to be around them more. Like if they didn't text me in the morning, I'm like, hey, wait, what's going on? Where y'all at? Everything all right? And if one of us go missing,
Yeah.
we hunting you down because we get, I think we all get the importance of spending time with each other and spending time with people that you enjoy being around. Like there's never been a time I've been with these guys and I didn't have a good time. So like you want that. You want to always feel that.
To chime in to what Tim just said about they going to find you, going back to Randy being the bully, I will disconnect from the group And these guys, they gonna reach out and check on me like, yo, like it was like a couple weeks ago. It just happened a couple weeks ago. Randall made me mad, so I had muted the conversation. Like, I ain't.
Scottie, you gotta stop disconnecting. You gotta...
Hey, I ain't got. Hey,
You gotta know the bully.
I have to ignore the bully because if you keep feeding him, this dude is gonna keep coming at you. So with
he will.
So what I do, I just eliminate myself from the situation for a minute. So with that being said, like Tim, he'd reach out. He knows. He like, yo, you good, bro? You good? I'm like, yeah. I just ain't talking to Randy right now. I'll see you later.
But Scottie, what do I do? What do I do?
What? You apologize in your own little way. You call me out my name. You know, you all right, you little or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Whoa.
So he just mean like that. So
it's tough
I know
love.
what I'm up against. I know what I'm up against. You know,
It's tough love.
But wait a minute,
Like
Randy.
I'm two sessions in now. I used to be one session. I'm 2 sessions in because of him.
But listen, okay, 2 things. So there's a couple questions, a couple comments in here I want to run through real quick before we keep going because I don't want to lose these. Let me see. So hold on. Demetric says, I tell all of my brothers that I love them and I mean it. But as you all say, you can't throw that word around lightly. He said his dad was like that too. And then he also says that I think that as men that we have to tell other men that we love them, especially the younger generation. So Scottie and Theon, kind of already said that they want to break that of not just saying I'm proud of you, but really using that word. I love you. And then Maurice said, y'all raised a good one in Theon Loving because he's been my ace almost 28 years, Virginia State University. Yeah, Maurice, we did a good job. In Nelson County raising Theon.
Yeah.
And then I got to laugh at Randy because see, Randy up here, he said I was the mean one in high school. Now I'm going to have to retract and try to see what he was doing.
I wasn't doing nothing in high school. I wasn't doing nothing.
In high school.
In high school, I was wondering why those girls so mean. I was like, they didn't live so short lives to be so hateful. All they got is school and home. They ain't got nothing to be.
That is true. All we had was school and home. That's absolutely all we had. Hold on, somebody said you were sweet to me. Is that Stephanie talking about Randy, Stephanie?
Stephanie.
We talking about me. This Stephanie saying, we got to say Stephanie.
She's talking about me. She's talking about me.
She's trying to talk about me. Talk about me. But, speaking of high school, Velvin and Tammy and Monica and Jaya, like we're always talking, Tasha, Stephanie, like we're always going back and laughing and joking and, talking about high school all the time. And I've listened to you guys do it. And I have listened to, some of the podcasts. Speaking of the podcast, y'all know y'all took my shine, right? So I was on the show with Tim, Ridiculously Blessed episode, and I had the highest views. So boys, fellas, guys, y'all have taken my spot. So I saw that you guys are the highest viewed podcast for Tim's show. So congratulations. I think that's good because it speaks to what we're doing today, that men talk too, right? And it's important that we have the opportunity to hear your voice. So what do you remember most about high school? Because I heard Randy say that he would go back to 9th grade if he could.
Like I would. If I could go back and know what I know now, y'all wouldn't be so mean. That's for sure.
I was not mean. I was probably one of the sweetest girls at the school.
Jocelyn,
middle school and high school.
I ain't go. Hey, we live. I ain't gonna even say it.
That's okay, because Lamont can vouch for me, and so can Scottie.
Yep.
Well, you got your cousin, and you got. Hold on. You got your cousin. Now, do you want Lamont to vouch, or do you want Prentice to vouch?
Lamont is gonna vouch for me.
So listen, I love Joe, but you was kind of mean, Joe. I mean,
okay. Anyway, so the question is,
the crew.
and y'all know the crew is watching.
They were
Hi,
all
ladies.
mean.
Oh,
I
and
miss
Gail
all you
is on here
ladies.
too. Melinda's on here too, and she
They-
said it wasn't her. Travis is on here. Everybody's popping on.
They were all
Nancy
mean.
popping
Joe,
on.
Joe, the only reason I'm gonna say that you wasn't mean is because you family, but y'all was mean. Like, yeah. Y'all went through the halls like once again.
You know,
like,
y'all was like
been in y'all group because y'all was
Mean
all
Girl.
bullies.
y'all was like a group of grow sisters.
Stephanie said I was her protector when she started school at Ryan Elementary, but I wasn't mean. I was just a protector of people. Anyway, men talk too. That's what we talk about. So men talk too. I guess
Yeah, we
y'all all
talking.
talking. Y'all telling all the stuff. But really, like, what do you remember about high school the most? And then the other question would be, what do you want to forget?
What do I remember?
For the sake of your show, I'm gonna plead the fifth and let them answer.
Oh man,
I'm gonna be real with you. High school was an emotional roller coaster. A lot of highs, a lot of lows.
a lot of highs.
Okay,
A lot of
so
lows.
in the words of Maddie J,
I think-
one of the
was
comedians,
it?
I'm
I've
gonna
seen
say,
it.
next question.
Yeah. Moving on.
In the words of my sister, let's move on. So another thing I wanted to talk about is, and you guys, I'm just going to be honest with you guys, our shows are usually an hour, but we may go over a little more today because I feel like we're having really good conversation. But one of the things I wanted to talk about, and you guys touched.
We can't do that because Tim ain't got no food here and I'm hungry. So
You should have took that food from La Coretta last night.
hey,
I
be quiet.
Okay, next question. So you guys have talked a little bit about this already, but you talked about, how you were raised, some of the things that happened. We talked about, in Nelson County, and then some like in your household. So right now, like I said, it's like amazing to watch you guys be husbands and be fathers. And I know on Tim's podcast, y'all talked a little bit about the difference in raising girls. That's right. I'm a real talk show host. I do my research about raising girls and then raising boys. Tell me about your parenting journey and how it could be different than how we were raised or what we did. Like Randy said, all we had was school and home.
So you know how parents say, you shouldn't have a double standard. I was the opposite. I got a double standard for real. There are things that, like my daughter, when she was little, she wouldn't get away with that my son could. But I had two great kids, two quiet kids, really respectable kids. So they could see other kids do stuff, and then as soon as they see it, they would look at me like, "Whoa, like what's about to happen?" Because they knew that that's not how we act. But I felt like us raising kids now is a lot different than when we were younger. Everybody was right there. You could control your environment. Well, now, man, with the internet and cell phones, it's harder and harder to control your environment. So you want to try to protect them from the outside, but you don't want to get them too wrapped up into the digital. Because they could easily stay in the room and just be on a phone or computer all day, and they won't get to experience, going out playing ball together and, having arguments. Like, so when they get to 45, 46, they can't get together and have a basketball game against each other and argue about who's the best because they didn't get to experience that. So it's definitely different.
I can't really talk about having boys because I got all girls. So I really don't. I just know that I look at my girls and like they are way smarter than boys. I'm like, man, I was like, they pretty smart at this age because I know I was dumb at that age. But, I love my girls. I guess I'm what you would call a girl dad. So I just try to protect them. And I mean, the thing is like, I know that when we went to school, I don't think our parents never really had to worry about us going to Nelson County High School. They didn't. And now I'm like, man, I don't even know if I want my kid to go to school. So
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like, it's so much. You don't really know how, like, what your parents went through until you become a parent. And you be like, oh, and we have way much more to worry about with our kids than they did with us. Like, I mean, I know where we live at, like, they have too many outlets, like, because they basically can walk to school. Like, you don't even have to go to school, like, you know, until you get a letter in the mail saying you got to pay. But I'm kind of, I get kind of frightened, like, all the time when they have to go to school. Like, you never know. So. And it sucks.
It's a delicate balance, I tell you that. Between being protector and overprotected.
Mm-hmm.
I have had that problem, especially in the of late. You know, my daughter's 26 now, so had to go let her live her life. But even with that, hey,
scary.
Yes, very much so. Very much so.
A couple of weeks ago, my daughter went to Puerto Rico. This is like the first trip she took with her friends, and I couldn't get in touch with her at night. I was about to lose my mind. I started to call these guys. I'm like, yo, y'all trying to get on a flight?
Yo, we spoke about that, Randy. We spoke about that.
Man, like, she finally texted me back at like 2 a.m. Daddy, I'm asleep. I got to get up and catch a plane in the morning. I was like, well, get up and phone.
See, I missed it too. You was
wasn't even
close,
me.
Randy.
But the thing is, I was talking about my child, so I got kind of passionate.
You know what? To piggyback again off of what Tim said about the double standards, I can be in the car with one of my sons or whatever, and I can see them looking at a girl. I'd be like, "Oh yeah, go get a number." Just hyping it up. If I'm in the car with my daughter, she'd be like, "Dad, I think I go to school with that boy. I'm going to speed up. Like, what you doing? Like, come on. No, let's go. What you doing? We're not doing that. It's hard. It's hard. That's all I can say. It's hard. How do you deal with it, Miss J?
I mean, I always like, I have 2 bonus kids, right? A girl and a boy, and they're adults though. And so now I have a 13-year-old, right? That's a boy. And I didn't grow up with boys in my house because I only had sisters. So, it's hard trying to figure it all out. But what I have in my mind is that I have to remember that whatever girl he talks to, like, that's somebody's sister, that's somebody's daughter. And so I remind him about that. And I would used to tell my husband, like, you treat the person the way that you want the other person to be treated, right? So if you're, if you have a daughter, then you have to remember that person, that the guy she's talking to is somebody's son, right? Mm-hmm. Somebody's brother, and they want to be respected and they want to be treated the right way. And then the opposite. So I tell my son that all the time. I would tell him, you have a mother, right? So the way that you treat a woman is the way that you want your mom to be, treated, and vice versa. And I tell him things like, don't let women ask you what you bring to the table if they can't tell you what they bring to the table, right? That everybody should be bringing something. So I try to have an open mind about things. When I start talking to him about girls, he don't want me to talk to him. So I'm always like, okay, God, you got to send me some good men folk around that he's going to have those relationships to be able to talk to, because I'm a helicopter mom. Right? Even with my adult kids, I'm calling, I'm texting, and what's taking you so long to call me back? What's taking you so long to text me back? So I think it's, and we couldn't do anything. My mom wouldn't let me do anything. Y'all know y'all didn't see me anywhere. I couldn't go anywhere except for, to my friends, like Velvin. I don't even think I could go to Velvin house initially. I could go to Monica's house and Tammy house and Jaya, because we all was kind of like in the same area, but I used to be like, my mama didn't let me do anything. Mm-hmm. And now as an adult and as a parent, now I understand why. So I tell her I'm sorry a lot, and that now I understand. Somebody said you sure did. Velvin said something, I'm not sure. But she's a helicopter mom as well. And so every day I'm trying to figure out how I can let him live his life and be able to breathe and live my own as well. Because like you said, Nelson County and Hampton Roads, Two different
Totally
answers.
different.
Hey,
Yep.
Joe Shalon, you can send your son with us on our next trip.
I'm not sending him with no. No,
He'll
you
come
know
back
what?
right.
I would trust y'all. Y'all would do the right thing. He would come back a little cray, but I know y'all would do right by him.
Come back a grown man talking like this right here.
He already talking like that, Lamont. He sound like you.
Send him across the bridge.
Send him across the board. But yeah, you know, it's hard. It's hard as you know, regardless of whether you're a man raising kids or you're a woman raising kids, as parents, it's hard. Theon asked me a question and put me on the spot. That's not that he's supposed to be like that. I'm supposed to be asking y'all questions. Joe Shalon, what do you think? And he called me Joe Shalon. He the man. Can I call you Joe?
That's Mr. Analytical right there.
Yeah, he done forgot he was on your show.
He forgot he was on my show.
I done quantum leap somewhere else.
Joe Shalon, you know he said he had beef with you anyway, so he
Yeah, he did. So
Brandon,
he
don't do it.
me, but I think he forgave me though. But that could have been him just trying to get, you know, throw something in there and get me off my game. Because he did have beef with me. Like, I was upset about that after we had that meeting. I was like, Theon really was mad at me.
We passed that.
Is this the
I've grown. I learned the error of my way. I promise.
Are we talking about the meeting that I got shunned on? That
the one that Tim didn't let you in on.
Didn't get the right email address.
Because Tim kept on laughing the entire time.
I know the whole time. So let me chime in on that real quick. This is what happened. So the whole time when it was I'm waiting on the whole thing to go on. Yeah, I stutter. It is what it is. So, but anyway, they kept sending me text messages in the group chat talking about Scottie, where you at? Where you at? And I was mad, so I was like, I'm going to bed. You know, then Tim talking about the link. I just sent you the link. I was like, I wouldn't even reply back because I'd have gotten my feelings now, so I'm going to bed. I don't even want to talk to y'all.
He in his feelings.
So once again, I muted the conversation again, and I talk to y'all tomorrow.
He didn't say tomorrow. He said 2 days later because it was on like a Tuesday we met. He said, I'll talk to y'all Thursday.
I even sent it to him. I was like, cousin.
But no offense, cousin.
And he still
no
wouldn't
offense,
come
I was
on.
already mad.
Joe Shalon, are you seeing the recurring theme with Scottie?
Yeah, Scottie, cousin, I'm gonna need you not to be in your feelings. Just say what you gotta say and keep it moving.
I do, and then I disconnect for a while just so I can get myself back together. You have to be all the way in tune to deal with these dudes for real. Like you can't come half wit. You got to be all together. So I need a day or so to get myself back together. Then I'll come back.
This dude talk cash mode and out here playing the victim. Lord have mercy.
Listen, Lamont, Monica's
Yes, ma'am.
on here too, talking about some I be missing conversations they be having too, and I get in my feelings. Monica is exactly like Scottie. We be in the chat, we be chatting and texting, and Monica be missing for days, and we be like, anybody talk to Monica? She be mad, and then she come back.
Theon, that's him. We call him Quantum Leap because Theon will text us at 3 o'clock in the morning and expect everybody to be up at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Scottie, you be the only one responding.
I know because I'm just getting up and I'm like, all right, that's my dog. He up today. So I'll talk to you. But then by 3:30, 4 o'clock, you're gone until tomorrow.
But then come back and want questions to that answer.
Yeah.
Call him Wycliffe.
Theon would text me and be like, where you at today? I'd be like, Ohio or whatever. And then I won't hear from this dude for the next 2 days.
No, the best is when you get a text from T like, yo, it ain't nothing.
Y'all don't be responding, man. I be forgetting, man.
Because ain't nobody up at 4 a.m.
Yeah.
Nobody. He act like he's still in Nelson County. We not getting up anymore at 4 o'clock, Theon. We out the county. We sleep.
My bad.
I had to tell my mother, I'd be like, Ma, do not call me before 8 o'clock. Like I'm not up, Ma. Don't do it. Like we don't wake up like that. I had to remind her all the time, like, Ma, it don't work like that. Because I'll tell her something. She'll be like, well, do this. And I'd be like, Ma, we not in Nelson. I'm not in Nelson. It doesn't work like that. I be trying to tell her it's a whole different world. So I know we've been laughing and we've been talking about Tammy said I'm not up. They know it too, because Tammy will call me first thing in the morning acting like Theon. And I'm like, Tammy, I can't talk to you right now. But we've been laughing like a whole lot. But something that I do want to talk about too. I want to talk a little bit about grief a little bit, because I feel like over the last couple years, like a lot of people have been experiencing it, and that was also part of the whole men talk too that I thought was important. Because mental health and like grief and just dealing with life, right? So many things. And sometimes, especially for men, our men fall through the crack because you got to be manly. You can't cry, you can't share your feelings, all those things. But over the last couple of years, and I know like when I experienced my situation, like I'm telling you, like Tion's in my inbox, Tim in my inbox, Lamont in my inbox. Okay, I left Tion on read for a little while because I was going through some stuff. And like the other day, he got his big sister told, right? He got me told about that. So I ain't
all up in his feelings.
I ain't never leaving Theon on read again. But like seriously, like it was nice to know, right, that outside of like my girlfriends from my sisters from Nelson, right, that had known me forever, forever, that it was a group of guys that that cared about how I was doing, and what was going on. And I have I've watched you guys experience that in your circle. So I want to talk about that a little bit as well, and kind of talk about like when you have death, like you're real vulnerable, right? And I know that you guys have reached out to each other to be a comfort to each other during those times. So talk to me about how easy it was, how hard it was to like reach out to each other, or did you just know right away like this is the person I need to call? And I know y'all have had this conversation. It's a hard, conversation, but like I can, this part of men talk too, because this is the kind of like the serious part where it's like, we need each other.
Yeah, for me, it was them reaching out to me like, hey man, I know this just happened. If you need us, we're here. And then the conversation went from there. But what's weird, or not weird, but what's different about it is like we started dealing with things like this like way back when. I don't know if you want to bring it up, but like this happened, it started in middle school where we knew we had to be there for each other. And that's why the bond was so tight. When we got back together as adults, it just kept rolling because we know that we can count on each other. I mean, there are different events in our lives. Like we were talking the other day about when Lamont broke his finger. I was right there.
Me too.
It looked nasty.
Right there. So when situations happen in our lives, man, I mean, there's a lot of times where these guys are right there or no more than a phone call away. And the unique part about it is that now we talk every day. So even the small things, they're right there for you. So it makes the bigger things a lot easier to deal with.
So I know, Randy, when you guys were on the podcast, you said that it was so taboo for men to talk about death, right? Yeah, I mean pulling y'all quotes too, right? But that's what Randy said, and it is. So I know, Randy, you talked about that a little bit on the podcast. So can you share a little bit about it?
Yeah, I would say like for me, I experienced it way before these guys did. Like my mom passed when I was 13. I was in the 8th grade. So for me, it was like, okay, it was the death. And then a week later is back to normal. Like, you 13, you don't know. Like you expect your mom to be there forever, at least until you're grown.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like, I went back. It was like, I didn't realize, I don't think I really understand grieving until COVID hit. When you start thinking back over, you had so much time to think. And I realized like being around these guys from middle school all the way through school, they took that, like they took that pain and they got me through it, even with me not even knowing that I was going through something.
Mm-hmm.
But then when COVID hit and you get those memories back, you're like, oh, this is what grief feel like, because I never felt it, because those guys was always there, and I never told them about it. They never talked about it, but they was like the people I needed around me at the time to get through it. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, like that was I can't say it was rough for me, because I really didn't know, but since I had those, they just made it easier for me.
And it's good, you know, how we can take time as we get older to reflect, you know, to be able to reflect back on those times, and knowing that even though you didn't know, right, what you were going through, but the right people were around you, that even now as an adult, you can go back and be like, man, like those guys, they were there then, and they're still here now. Like they carried me through.
And then once we reconnected, it was like all of us have been through it. So now it's like, now we get it now. Like, and I know what Auntie always tell me, like, man, I don't know how you did it. Like, you was a child. So I'm like, well, it was because of y'all. But now I think once we got all back together and talked about it, it's like, okay, now let's talk about it. You know, so
yeah, Theon was one of my first phone calls.
It still hurts, but you could talk about it now. You know, so you try to make me cry on live.
Listen, I'm telling you, don't y'all start crying, because I will cry. I know my husband's grandmother used to call him a bag of tears. She said when he was little, he would be a bag of tears, and I'm like, that is me. I am a bag of tears. So I guess we connected. We was crying together. But you know what? Another thing about that, like, crying is good, right? Like, of course, like I didn't do my show for a long time after my husband passed, because I was scared that I would cry. Right, I'll be like, I'm gonna cry online. I can't cry on my podcast.
The one show that we did on that, at any moment it was gonna be like one of us is gonna cry.
I could see, and I saw it.
It was like, it's even, that's as much as a good show that was, it's still hard to watch, because it's like,
you want honesty? I was watching it today, and I literally started crying and cut it off. And I was like, if I keep watching it, I ain't gonna be able to come on with them tonight at 6:00. So I cut it off. But Tim, you know, Tim having the show, having that podcast, him and I had connected, you know, a little time before, and he had come on this show. But I went on his show, and I was like, Tim, I can't come on your show because I'm gonna cry, right? Like, I know I'm gonna cry, I'm gonna come on there. But that's another thing about that Nelson County connection, right? It was the encouragement of Tim saying, listen, you have something to say. You have something that people need to hear. And whenever you're ready, I'm ready, right? And for me, I probably would have never been ready, but it was that encouragement, right, from him, and that support from him that said, you know what, if I'm gonna talk to anybody about it, I'm gonna talk to Tim, because even though he was a year younger than us, he was quiet. I didn't talk to him a lot, but it's that Nelson County Foundation that if you from Nelson, like, there is a connection that you have that nobody can ever, like, it's some type of bond that nobody can ever break, regardless. There's a question on here. Somebody asked, Kathy asked, how long was the disconnect for you guys? Like, how long was it? I know we said a long time, but how long was it before guys started hanging together again?
It was for all of us to be together. It was just this past year.
Last year
in March. We there have been times
we connected. We got back on the text. What was it, Randy? Like 2000. I'm pointing, man. Like what? What was
it was
Thanksgiving. It was like Thanksgiving. I saw you on Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
No, it was Christmas. I came down for Christmas last year.
Last year, yep.
And it started with us four that connected, and we needed that missing piece. We needed the fifth borough to be represented. Mm-hmm. And
we voted Scottie in.
Yeah. And I basically like, look, guess who I found? And we put Scottie in, and it was like, there it is. And it was like, but But
since
before that,
graduation, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
graduation.
I seen Tim one time. He was just so happy and trying to be Amish in Pennsylvania. And I looked on his Facebook and he had his location. I'm like, bro, you like right up the street from me. And he came by, and then I don't know how it all. They can tell you better how it all happened.
Yeah, after that, it's like we would text. Like T would always text, happy birthday, Merry Christmas, those kinds of things. So we connected that way. And then I broke my phone and lost every number. I broke my phone and lost every number. And
You fixed it though.
Yeah, say no.
when
Joshua, he has an iPhone -3.
A Nokia iPhone.
It's rotary dial.
Y'all can tease me all you want. So my phone broke and I lost the number. And I was talking to T. T had messaged me about the show, oddly enough. And he was like, bro, just keep doing what you're doing. I think you're on to something. And I messaged him back, thanks. And then I was like, man, I was thinking about the guys being on. You think they'd be in? He was like, well, send him a message. I was like, T, I don't have anybody's number. And T connected with Lamont and Randall and got them on the show. And then Randall dug Scottie out.
Not dug him out.
We've been together ever since.
And the stupidity has been gone on since.
So as you can see how they talk to me, Joe, do you understand now why I'm going to counseling twice a week?
But
now?
listen, you was the missing piece, though. They needed you, cousin.
But they treat me so wrong. They don't treat me like they love me. They treat
Y'all
me
gonna
like
have to start treating Scottie like y'all really love him.
Once again, Scottie, you are the baby of the bunch. That's what happens.
Is he really though?
No.
Tion,
I'm one of
You
the
look
oldest
like-
ones.
Tion,
I thought
you
Randall
look like you
was.
got something to
Nah,
say.
Scottie's like 2 weeks after me.
Yeah, Randall the oldest.
T, you look like you got something to say.
You know,
You the oldest?
I would always keep in touch with Lamont through text. We would talk periodically. Me and Tim just like family. He married my cousin, so we would keep in touch very sporadic. I mean, it would be years that we wouldn't speak or whatever. But when we saw each other, hey, what's up? This, that, whatever. When I was teaching in Charles City County, I don't even know how Randall's name got brought up. But this one of the teachers there, he was like, "Oh, you from Nelson?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Oh, you know this dude named Randall?" I was like, "Randall?" I was like, "Randall Magazine?" He's like, "Yeah." And he gave me Randy's phone number. And me and Randy kind of we touched bases then, and then we just kind of went astray. But I know I would send periodic texts, hey, happy Father's Day, happy Christmas, whatever. And it just kind of spread from there, honestly.
That's like our biggest regret, the time, because we done missed very important parts of each other's lives that, we're basically trying to make it up now. Because we done missed, graduations, marriages, we done missed all those things. And it's like, you know what? I always tell them, like, fellas, the roller coaster is at its peak, is going downhill now. So we got to make it up. Like, I'm the one, listen, I'm the one that I want to see these guys all the time. And if I don't see them, I'm mad. They don't think I'm mad, but I'll be like,
oh no, we know you mad. Yeah, tell them, Tim.
Yeah,
tell them, Tim. It's busy season.
It's
You
busy
don't
season.
understand what busy season is.
they got mad at me, man.
But
Yo, let me tell y'all something super real that me and Randy had a discussion about. I was talking to him about my father's death, and I was saying, you know what, man, I got like a good, I think I said maybe 30 years left on this earth. Some wild number I put out there. Because I'm just basing it off when my father passed or whatever. Randy said, well, T, how you think I feel? His parents passed when he was super young. And that just put everything into perspective for me. I was just like, wow, we lost a lot of time. We really, really did. And again, I'm just thankful that we are able just to cut up 24 hours of the day. Because it's never a dull moment. It's never a dull moment. They call me Quantum Leap. I get so absent-minded sometimes. Al wound up asking the same question that was asked about 2 hours ago. And here come Tim with his little slick comment. Here we go. Then here comes Scottie. He chiming in. He liking comments. Next thing Lamont got something to say.
Emoji comments.
I got my new phone, so I can do emojis and everything now. So,
Yo, and then
cousin, what was your old phone doing? You couldn't do emojis.
I'm an Android man, so
Yes.
so I get picked on because
I got an Android too, so we're on the same team.
I know, but Tim tries to pick on somebody, but if I, like you just said, like everybody just chimed in and said, that phone looks so old till it looks like he got it from Dollar General for $35.
It's a track phone.
He lost his phone when we were in North Carolina. Randall kept saying, I hope he can't find it.
Tim be like, hold on, y'all. I gotta stop at Dollar General and give me a card. I gotta put some minutes on it. His phone got Snake on it.
Lamont,
Yes,
you've been
ma'am.
pretty quiet.
Hey, that's my role in the group.
Yeah, right.
He's
Joe
just
Shalon.
laughing. He's just laughing.
Joe Shalon.
And it's so funny because Randy keep on calling me Joe Shalon, right? He
That's what you told me.
to call me
I'm
Joe
trying to follow the
Shalon.
rules.
Don't follow the rules.
Joe Shalon. This is Lamont. He's quiet now because he was so loud back then.
He was turned up back then.
He don't have no more voice.
Loud. He was loud growing
He don't
up.
have no more voice.
Look who I hung with, man.
We
Yeah, I
should
know
have
Lamont
we
used to-
should have
Lamont used to
invited
stay quiet.
Lamont. We getting Prentice.
Hey, look,
There's
Joe
nobody
Shalon.
know who Prentice is.
I don't even know why me and Lamont is even friends. Because every time me and Lamont got me in trouble every time. Lamont got me hit in the eye. Lamont got me hit in the eye with a pencil. Lamont got me kicked out of class. Every time it was me and Lamont, I was the one that got in trouble.
And who's the nice guy? Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
You know, it's funny. Somebody asked me one day, you know this guy named Prentice from Nelson? I was like, no. I was like, he can't be from Nelson. Like, if I don't know him, he not from Nelson. I don't know who that is. And then I was like, they was like, Prentice Page. I was like, Lamont? It was like, who's Lamont? I was like, well, who's Prentice? I don't know him. I have no idea who that is. And I was like, Lamont done grew up and tried to change his name. I was like, you don't know him.
I had to put some bass in my voice. Thank you very much.
Listen, so a couple more things because I don't want to go too far over. Again, you guys, this is Men Talk 2 on the JSpirations live show. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Some of the last things Tim asked on the show, when he had you guys on his show, he asked you guys a couple things that you have learned. Theon, you said that something that you had learned is that treat people how you want to be treated, and that has stayed with you.
That was a Linwoodism. That's something that he always told me. No matter where you are, no matter where you go, no matter how far away you go from home, because he knew once I graduated high school, I wanted to get from under his thumb. And I was like, okay, my mom, she went to VSU. Let me follow her footsteps. And when I got to Virginia State, again, it was definitely different. I met some good people. I met a lot of good people down there. Not everybody's bad, so I met a lot of good people. And I always felt like I'm not tooting my own horn. I don't want it to sound like that, but I just felt like that I was just different for whatever reason. And again, that's just something that he just always, not just him, just my parents in general, my grandparents, my uncles, my aunts, they used to always just tell me, treat people how you would love to be treated, no matter how bad the circumstance. Now, that kind of went over my head a couple times, because sometimes it got really, it could have went there a couple times, honestly. But with all that being said, it definitely worked out at the end. So again, just treat people how you want to be treated.
So, Scottie, I know you didn't get the opportunity to go on the show with the guys, but I wanted to ask you the same question. Like, it's actually two questions for you. What have you learned, throughout your life, that you would share with the people? And then I also wanted to ask you about life on the road and what keeps you grounded. Because now that Scottie's my cousin, so now that we've reconnected, like I'm in his inbox like all the time, like where you at, where you going? So like those two questions. Number one, what keeps you grounded on the road? Family show, and and what have you learned, and throughout life that has stayed with you?
Stay humble, because I don't appreciate that, Randy. You both. Yeah, stay humble, because regardless of how high you get, it can be gone in a second. And remember where you come from, regardless of where you are, because once again, it can all be gone in a split second. And as far as being on the road, it's a different life. I've been doing it for like 22 years now. And I travel all over. I chase the money, basically. You know what I'm saying? And for me to be on the road, I stay to myself for the most part, and I love it that I got these guys in my box now. You know what I'm saying? Because we always got something going on. Shut up. She asked me a question.
I didn't say anything.
But being on the road, that's a whole different life. You know what I'm saying? Being away from your family. How can I say it? Like, it's hard, but you got to do what you got to do as far as work and everything, and you got to just stay humble and just stay to yourself, because it's dangerous out here. Mm-hmm. I've seen some stupid things out here on this road, and but yeah, I just stay to myself and just work and stand and do whatever. And now he got me offline, Joe.
I know y'all messing up Scottie. He was talking mighty good, and y'all.
I know.
He said mighty good.
Mighty good.
Mighty good.
Timmy wrote his answer.
Up my cousin. Why he's trying to spit some knowledge.
Yeah, but thank you, cousin. Thank you.
Timmy wrote it for him.
Who wrote it for him?
Timmy wrote it for Scott.
That's why Timmy had to be beside him.
If anybody wrote it, I'd rather take it from Jordan. I ain't gonna take it from him. But no, it's being out here and working and everything. You still gotta, like I said, stay humble and appreciate everything every day. You know what I'm saying? Because once again, being on the road, you see so much. I give you one story and then I'll be done. A few years ago, I was in Iowa, and I'm driving across 80 or whatever, and I had a family of like kids and everything in the background. They, on the road, and they went by me, and the little kids, they do their horn like this. They want you to blow the horn. So anyway, I done my horn. They go down the road. Maybe an hour and a half later, the interstate come to a stop. You know what I'm saying? And I get on my CB. I'm like, what's going on? What's going on? What happened was a car from the other side of the interstate came across and hit that same family head on, killed everybody in the car. So when I say appreciate what you have, you never know. You know what I'm saying? You never know what's gonna happen. So, but I love these guys. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, they get on my nerves, but they my dogs.
Randy, you said on Tim's show, you said that a hard head makes a soft butt.
That's not what he said.
Is that what he said? Is that what he said?
Yeah, and I didn't realize that until I realized how soft mom was. Once I grew up and like, hey, he was trying to tell you something right. I found myself telling the other young guys that I know, like, hey, you better get it right because it's gonna come back on you. Some of them listen, some don't. That's all because like back then we thought we knew everything.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't want to listen to what your parents had to say until you actually go through it and realize like they was trying to tell you something. Like you said, like we grew up in a different time where you knew they loved you. They didn't say it that much, but they showed you in other ways. And dropping little gems like that every now and then was them telling you, hey, I love you, so don't do it this way. Just like try to understand what you're doing. And I find myself saying it to my kids and other kids, like where I work at, I tell them the same thing, and take it for what it's worth. It helped me out.
And so Lamont, you said reach one, teach one.
Yes, ma'am. Listen, with everything that we've talked about today, we've all learned some hard lessons. I know me personally, because I did know it all, quote unquote. When I came down here, I lost my damn mind. Excuse my language.
See, look at him not following directions.
Flag on the play.
Flag. Kick him out.
And it was me.
I'm about to mute him, y'all. I'm gonna mute him.
It won't happen no more, ma'am. But seriously,
and you was worried about me.
I was worried about Randy and Theon, and I was giving you the business.
I told you I should have signed in as Prentice. Here we go. But no, seriously, I don't learn a lot of life lessons, and like the old folks used to do for us, I'm trying to pass that down because, like the fellas have all agreed, we live in some perilous times right now, and I'm trying to reach as many kids as I possibly can because it is crazy out here.
So Tim, you were actually doing, you was carrying the conversation and you were doing the interview. So there was nobody to ask you, what you learned. So I'm going to ask you that question, and then I'm going to just take it upon myself. I can't even get the word out right. I never can. But I feel like to kind of sum yours up is like ridiculously blessed. Like that has been your thing. Mm-hmm. So what have you learned?
So the biggest thing I've learned is appreciate the moments more. Because then, like Scottie said, they're not guaranteed. So value your time like it is a value. We spend a lot of time trying to get money, achieve these different goals, but we forget about the time shared with each other or with our kids or with our spouse or anything like that, because it's not guaranteed. So stealing moments, one, meaning get in shape, move around, get some exercise, eat right, but also just no chicken.
He was gonna throw that in there.
Chicken licken.
But, do all that you can to steal moments, because it's not guaranteed.
So I'm just gonna jump into some comments. I see TT's been on here a little bit, and he's been saying some stuff, and I hadn't been able to grab anything. But one of the things that he just posted was much love and respect to you guys. So, I mean, if you're watching, TT grew up with us.
Riverside. Riverside mentor.
Had time to talk about these names.
That's my dog right there.
But I wanted to say to everyone, first I want to say to everybody that's watching, thank you guys so much. Nelson County showed up. I'm just looking at the comments. Nelson County showed up for us tonight. And so we appreciate you guys jumping on and being a part of the conversation. If you know somebody that's from Nelson that didn't get the opportunity to to watch this live, make sure that you share it with them, because what you're looking at tonight is a product of Nelson County, right? One of Theon's friends said, listen, y'all raised a good one. Growing up, I know you guys probably felt, the same way. Like we were, like I was ready just to get out, right? Like I didn't appreciate, I was ready to go, right? I needed to get out of Nelson County. And then I got here and people would say, where are you from? And I'd be like, I'm from Nelson. And they didn't know where it was. I'm like, what you mean you don't know where that is, right? Yeah. But now as an adult, I talk about it loud and proud, and I'm thankful for the connections that we made, the relationships that we built, even though, some of us are younger or older, but if you knew somebody in the family, even if you didn't know that person, so it was easy just to make that connection. So I'm thankful for the Nelson County foundation. I'm thankful for all the things that our parents taught us. You know, we thought we were being like held down. We couldn't go any place. We couldn't do anything, right? But it made us who we are today. And we all went out into the world. Probably didn't all make all the best choices, right? But thank God that we were still alive to be able to come back and go back to the root, right? To the root of who we are and where we're from. And now look at us now, right? 5 of you are on here. You know, you're respectable citizens.
At least 4 times a week.
You know, your dads, your husbands, you know, your resources for the community. Listen, y'all on my show. Y'all know I used to always be a big mouth in school. But it's something I always wanted to do. And so I'm honored tonight to have you guys on here, right? We are a product of greatness, right? It's a little town with a big heart, you know, full of families, full of love. And when you go back, you don't feel out of place. You're going home and you're going to see somebody in the food line. You're going to see somebody at the McDonald's. You're going to see somebody at the chicken coop, right?
Can't go to the chicken coop no more. The price is too high.
Crazy.
I got a cheeseburger there the other week. It was $12 for a cheeseburger.
Yep. It is expensive, but I got to get one chicken wing. I just got to. I got to get one chicken wing.
Extra seasoning.
But you know, I just want to thank you guys so much for coming on JSpirations tonight and starting off our new series, Men Talk To. And I'm excited and I'm honored that you guys came on. Y'all did a good job too. Y'all did a good job. Y'all dropped some jewels.
Do we get to come back then?
You do get to come back. Y'all get to come back again.
Hey, let it just be me and Tim and Theon and Lamont. We leave Randy out.
And all of y'all gotta come together as a package.
You know why just me, Scottie?
Why?
Because ain't nobody come to see you, Otis.
He said that with a serious face too.
Hey, we'll
take your shoes back, Randy.
We'll talk about this later.
Yeah, hey, I'm gonna come by and get my shoes.
Listen, I am so I'm so proud of you guys. I'm proud to say that I know you guys. Listen, everybody, make sure that you, if you have not liked the page, please be sure to like the page, and don't just like it. Please be sure to follow the page as well. You can also join us next month for another conversation. I'll be announcing our next guest really soon, but we'll be doing this for the next couple months for the new series. Also, you can join us on Friday nights at 8:00 for Fill Up Friday Live. We go through a lot of things through the week, and sometimes we're running on empty. So we hope by the end of the show on Friday night that you are full and that you practice some self-care. So become a Fill Up Friday faithful and join us on Friday nights at 8:00. Also, go ahead and put it on your calendar now. Listen, the brothers say they're going to be in the house October the 21st for JSpirations Live 5-year anniversary. It is a formal, semi-formal event. Now, listen, y'all, they told me they're going to be in the house. So if you want to see the brothers live and in person in their tuxes and their suits, looking good and handsome and representing Nelson County, then you guys come out to the October 21st 5-year anniversary. I love you guys so much. I'm thankful so much for you guys joining us tonight. Guys, don't you all log off. What is
Hold on a second. Hold on. Before you go, we this is something we want to share. We want, if anybody's watching this tonight and you're watching because Scottie's on here or Randall or Theon or Lamont or me, please continue to watch, continue to support. We need to support each other. If you're watching it because you are a JSpirations Live, you're here every week, come on over to Ridiculously Blessed, watch our podcast, chat with us. The only way we get better is by helping each other. So I'm gonna take this time for a shameless plug because these guys, they're about to do something big, all right, real big. So make sure you're a part of it and follow along because you're gonna see more of the fellas out there.
And Miss J, before we leave, hold on. You gave us our flowers. I want to say thank you, and we're so proud of you, girl. Let me tell you something. When I'm here in the 757 and I hear Miss Hargrove's name, and I'm like, wow, Nelson County, this is what we're doing down here. We're crossing over. We know too many people and didn't know we knew each other. You know, it's crazy. Proud of you, girl.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That is the truth, right? Like I hear people, like I said, they was talking about Prentice, but I was like, I don't know who that is. I started talking about Lamont, like that's my little bro. And yeah, you know, we're down here in the same area, and you know, we hear each other's names, you know, ever so often. And I'm like, yeah, that's my bro, and so it does feel good. Hey, Jordan.
Hey, shout out to Jordan because he set all this up. His daddy don't know what he's doing.
He hit the mute button when Scottie talking and all crazy.
When I walked in, my man was getting it all together. So all shout outs to Jordan.
Fellas, I got a question for y'all. Y'all think we gotta induct Joe Shalana as an honorary member of the B4L?
Yeah.
Send her the package.
You said send her the package.
All right.
Y'all voting me in.
Yeah, you in. Like Lamont said, I want to say this because Joe, you my cousin. I ain't seen you in forever. It's great to see you. Thank you for having me. You look great.
Oh, thank you, cousin.
And I love you.
I love you too. Y'all gonna make me cry. Y'all can't make me cry on my show.
She said, "Thank you for having me." Look at this selfish dude. What?
Hey, it ain't about y'all.
Theon, you know it's all love, bro.
Most definitely.
And Randy, I'm sorry if I was mean to you when we were kids.
Y'all's mean to everybody.
Okay.
Not just me. Like Scottie said, I think I had to go to therapy for that too.
All right. I love you guys. Everybody, thank you so much for watching tonight. Make sure that you like and follow. And as always, be JSpire.